So today is Sunday, and that means only one thing to runners, a Sunday long run. Today I'll be taking the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 3 out for a long run. It will take the shoe over the 200 mile mark. I've now run 200 miles in this shoe and it has become my favourite long run shoe of the year. So in today's video I'm going to talk you through why this is such a great shoe, who it's best suited for, and give you a full review of this shoe from Adidas. So I have had the Adidas Pro 3 in my rotation since June, so for the last 5 months, and it has become probably my favourite running shoe for the long runs in 2022. I just really enjoyed it from the get-go, and I've basically been reaching for it pretty much every Sunday since June. For these longer runs, it's just such a great shoe, comfortable, good amount of cushioning, responsive. But before I get into my main sort of likes and dislikes for the Adidas Pro 3, I thought I would quickly go over some of the specs. So the Pro 3 has a full Light Strike Pro midsole, which is Adidas' most responsive foam, and it's a carbon plated, or not a carbon plated, a carbon rod infused midsole, so comes into that super shoe category. It has 39.5 millimeters of stack in the heel, dropping to 33 in the forefoot, so 6.5 mil drop. And the outsole to this shoe is full continental rubber, so it's a very durable, grippy shoe. I'm definitely testing it today. We've had some cold weather here in the UK over the last sort of week, 10 days, so it's a little bit snowy and icy out, but mainly on the roads it's absolutely fine today. And the final key specs is it comes in at £220 retail price, but I think on offer now you can pick it up for around £160, which I think is a great option. For someone looking for a long run shoe, maybe they're looking at doing a spring marathon, this is a really good shoe to add into your rotation. So I'm back from my Sunday long run in the Adidas Adios Pro 3. A lovely run today. A little bit chilly, a little bit icy out there, but I made sure I avoided the majority of the ice patches. There was a little bit on the route which was flooded, so I had to sort of walk around a big puddle to avoid getting cold feet. That would have been horrible because it's about 0 degrees over here in the UK at the moment. So what has made this shoe so good? The main thing for me has been the level of cushioning. So this shoe has 39.5 millimeters of that Light Strike Pro from Adidas, which, as I said, is the highest sort of amount of stack you can have in a shoe for it still to be road legal to race in. And what that does, it just protects your legs across the duration of a long run. And for me, I've done runs up to 36 kilometers in this shoe during my marathon training, and I just find it helps protect the legs and keep them nice and fresh. Even towards the end of the run, you still feel like your legs are not too fatigued. Another thing I've really enjoyed is the type of cushioning. So the Light Strike Pro is probably one of the only super shoe midsoles that I've personally tried that feels comfortable at a wide range of paces. So for example, the Zoom X from Nike, it's quite a firm midsole if you're running at an easy pace, whereas the Light Strike Pro seems to be nice and soft when you're running at an easy pace, and then as you pick up the pace, it almost sorts to firm up a little bit. I'm not sure if that's down to how the energy rods work. As you put more energy into them, maybe they give you more energy back. That would make sense. But this shoe feels really good at anything from my easy pace all the way up to my marathon pace. I've tried some speed work in it, and it does feel a little bit on the clunky side, so I think anything up to marathon pace for me, or half marathon pace, would be the upper limit of this shoe. But yeah, the type of cushioning has been great. It protects the legs, but it also, you can pick up the pace in this shoe absolutely no problem. So 3 other things I've liked about this shoe that I'll quickly whiz through. First is stability. It's nice and wide, a landing platform on both the front and the heel, and in terms of stability it's been an excellent shoe, especially when I compare it against other carbon racing shoes in that marathon category. The grip on this shoe is Continental rubber, as you can see there on the bottom, and it's not only been very, very durable, but across all conditions it's been excellent. So I've used it throughout this training block, which has mainly been in the winter, so a lot of my long runs have been wet, even muddy, and yeah, the shoe handles those conditions really well. And the final thing I've really enjoyed about this shoe is how natural it feels on foot. So a lot of super shoes that I've tried tend to sort of push you up into your toes, and they feel like they control you a little bit in terms of your foot strike, your gait cycle, whereas the Adidas Adios Pro 3 feels very natural on foot, and it almost seems to let my foot and my stride do its thing basically, which I really enjoy. It doesn't feel like it's controlling me, which is probably why I've enjoyed it so much for my easy and steady long runs. So moving on to the downsides of this shoe, there isn't really too many, but one that I would have to be a little bit picky with is the upper of this shoe. It's very, very minimal. So in terms of comfort, it doesn't offer that sort of plushness that you get from, say, a daily trainer. You have very little cushioning. The tongue is very, very thin, so you have to be a little bit careful when you're lacing up the shoe, that you make sure that your laces aren't all scrunched up, because that could potentially hurt the top of your feet. But yeah, that is a minor issue, and as I said, it is a racing shoe, so I wouldn't expect it to be super plush. But in terms of comfort of the upper, it's not super comfortable, but then again, it's not uncomfortable. It's not something that I've noticed when out running. And the final thing is the clunkiness of this shoe. It doesn't feel heavy, but just the size of it, the sort of oversized midsole, and I don't know, the shoe on foot just feels a little bit clunky to me when going through my foot strike. It's mainly just the overall size of this shoe. You can notice it on your foot. It's not necessarily the weight. And yeah, if I had to be picky, those would be some of my downsides. So I would recommend this shoe to anyone who's looking to run a marathon. It's a great race day option, but it's also excellent for those long runs. And because it's so durable with that Continental rubber, I would recommend doing all of your long runs in this shoe and then racing the marathon or half marathon on race day in this one as well. Now, the interesting thing about this shoe is that I think it will suit a wide range of abilities. From my experience, it's been just as comfortable running at 5-minute kilometers as it has been at 3-minute kilometers. And it seems to sort of accommodate to a wide range of paces. As I said, that midsole, the more you put in, the more it gives back, but it also feels nice and comfortable at sort of slower paces. And I also think it's going to suit people looking for a more durable option. 200 miles in this shoe, and it's hardly showing any signs of wear on the bottom. And the midsole is still holding up. Shoes like the Alpha Fly from Nike seem to wear down a little bit quicker. I have noticed a little bit of wear and tear on that exposed bit of Lightstrike Pro, but in terms of overall responsiveness, it feels very much the same as when I took it out of the box for my first run. So that sums up today's video on the Adios Pro 3, an excellent racing shoe and my favourite long run shoe of the year. If you want to check out my first run in it and a speed workout that I did in this shoe, a 3 by 10 minutes threshold, you can watch that here. And if you enjoyed today's video and you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. But until next time, aspire to run, run to inspire, and we'll see you again soon.